Good morning on this quite dull day. It's the morning. It's the morning of the 13th of December now. This is the day after the night before, so to speak. And I'm here this morning to talk to you about my opinion, and this is my opinion, on the Grand Prix that took place yesterday, because it was the season finale and there's been a lot of talk. But I haven't really said too much on Twitter. I've said a couple of things, but nothing too much. Like it feels like the Montreal screw job for Formula One. But we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. Now, as I say, these are my opinions. These are what I saw as a viewer yesterday and what I saw in the previous bit. Now, first of all, it would be remiss of me to say, if not to say, congratulations, Max Verstappen, you are world champion of Formula One. Now, I saw this coming a few races ago. Jump a little bit. I called out he was going to be world champion. Do I agree with him being world champion? That's not up to me. Did I want him to be world champion, even though I said he would be? No. Did I want Lewis Hamilton to take 8 titles? Yes I did. But that's neither here nor there. That's just favouring one person over another. Now, I'm trying to do this so it's quite, on point rather than blathering. But okay, so yesterday's race. Let's just get into this. Something was up. We knew something wasn't sitting right. I wasn't sitting well with this. Okay. So let's talk about the first incident that was there, because the one thing about the controversy that happened yesterday, it's not all centered on one thing. It's not all centered on one person. However, the main big bit is centered on one person that not a lot of people who are doing videos like this are talking about. And this is why I'm sticking my 2 cents in, because I'm feeling from a viewer's perspective. I saw something and heard something that's been brewing, but not a lot of people are mentioning, which could be something that is being missed in the case that could be coming up against the FIA, which needs to be addressed. Now, the dive bomb. It was a dodgy dive bomb. Let's call it like it is. Would I do the same? You're damn right I would. let's call that like it is. If you've watched TGWPIS Formula One season of Rivals from Hungary, where we did in Hungary, you'll see some of the lines I took were adventurous. Let's call it like it is. Now, it seems to me that Max Verstappen, and people can correct me in chat if they want in the comments below, because we can do that. Max has taken on an Ayrton Senna aggression style, where he does the bingo. When he's driving, he gives you this. He goes, "There's a gap there. I'm going to be in it. It's up to you if you want the accident or not." Okay, now, before people start going, "Oh, but what about Silverstone this year? Lewis made him crash out and hit a wall, and it could have been very dangerous. It's just the 1G." I know this, but Lewis had enough of that and actually gave Max a taste of his own medicine. Max didn't want to move, didn't want to give the place up. He never does, which is something he needs to learn, otherwise accidents like that are going to occur more. Now, the funny thing about that is, when Max does it to others, it's fine, it's racing. When people do it to him, they're vilified. No. Let's keep it the same both ways in that instance, if that's going to happen. If Max is going to keep doing this, alright? He was told off about this, and also weaving. But I digress. That's that's neither here nor there now. So let's come back to yesterday. 10-6, lap 1, dodgy dive bomb. Lewis Hamilton pushed off, otherwise he would have hit Max, and that would have been game over. And I think Max knew that and was trying for that. Now, should Lewis have given that place back? What was Max clearly by him? Because if he wasn't, then that's a tough one. That's a tough call. You can't really say. You should have given the gap have been less than one he took for the cheap breakout. I refer you to, I believe it was Russia, and again, please correct me in the comments if it's not. Alonso blatantly took the thing without getting pushed off. Did he get penalised for it? No. Slap one. As far as Alonso concerned, he didn't give a fuck. So I believe, in avoiding the accident, that's what Lewis did. He just took that line. Should he have slowed down a little bit more? Probably. Let's devil's advocate here, okay? Because we can't, even though I'd say I'm not a fan of Max, but I don't want to be biased towards Lewis, because I've seen people like that, and I've seen people like that going, oh well, I don't recognise Max as champion. Don't be like that. But anyway, I digress. So that was lap 1. Okay, now we get to the virtual safety car. Needed, yes. Now, here's what I'm talking about. This is where I'm going to start talking about why the FIA needs something done about it. During the virtual safety car, we hear a message from Toto Wolff to Michael Massey saying, please no normal safety car. No, that's very naughty. That is off. Now this reverts back to Jeddah as well. Michael Massey seems to have this bit where he's almost bartering. He wants to do bargaining with the team bosses about rule bits and how penalties are going to be put into place. And that's what led to the end of this race and this championship being so shitty. Is when I saw like Charlie Whiting when he was alive and Herbie Flash and all this, there was none of this bartering in the sense of the rules being in place. There was this is the rule, you will follow it. If your drivers do this, this is what will happen. And over the past few races, we've been hearing backwards and forwards between, and it is mainly between Red Bull and Mercedes going at it. I get it, they're desperate to win. I get that. The competition's very fierce, but Michael Massey's letting them away by going, well, we didn't think that's right. We want this to be this. No, this is the rule. This is what happened. Your driver broke the rule. You broke the rule. This is what will be. Rather than going, well, we think you're going to pick here. Are you okay with that? It's like, no, there's no, you're not. You're okay with this. Which what led to the virtual safety car with Toto pleading almost for not a safety car in that instance. And I didn't get one. But then again, to be fair, it wasn't needed. Now, the meat and potatoes of this. The safety car. Now, Latifi crashing out needed a safety car. There is no doubt about that. None at all. Nothing at all needed to be done. Fair enough. Here's where things get wrong. Now, we saw on screen no lapped cars to overtake the safety car. Now, to me, that's a judgment, and that's done. There is nothing else needed to be done. That's what's going to be done. If you want to get a lap in, fine. Keep the lap cars there, get cleared out, safety car away, in we go. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. Now, Now, we then hear a radio transmission from Christian Horner, aka, as I call him, Winterspice. And for the moment, I'm calling Toto Wolff Twatty Bollocks. Because and I understand there's emotions running high with all this, and yeah, it needs to be looked at, but, just for one moment, just think about this. Okay, why I'm talking about this, why this is happening. So Christian Horner gets on the blower and goes, but what about lap cars? What's going on with lap cars? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And we hear Michael Massey going, I'm just dealing with this with the stricken car. I've got to get that safely out of the way first before I deal with that. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as everybody else is concerned, we saw what the FIA was doing with that. No lapped cars to pass the safety car. That's judgment. But then we see the weird one, the change after the conversation with Christian Horner. The 5 cars between Lewis and Max were the only ones that were allowed. Now, since obviously that happened, we have heard that in the ruling there's a little vague bit which saying any cars can do this. But to me, that's changing the decision after you've made it on the whim of one of the team bosses. So that brings in my opinion, coercion. And that's the problem. There's the problem. There cannot be any conversation like that going to Michael Massey, the race director. Because that's the thing. That's what led to this. Now, you could also say, and has been said, Mercedes didn't bring Lewis in because they wanted to keep track position. Strategically, was that a wrong decision? As we saw when he had the thingy, when he had the end result, yes, sadly it was for Lewis. Now, do I blame Max Verstappen for this incident at the end here? Not at all, because it's not his fault. He's racing. He's doing the racing with Lewis to win the title. Do I blame him for being a bit swervy at the end? That was a bit naughty. The second part of that, when he stayed to the inside and made Lewis go around the outside, or the second straight, masterful, perfect, great job on that one. We have to say it. But leading up to this, the way this safety car was ended, the way the safety car was dealt with changing their mind after a conversation with one of the team bosses, was bullshit. You can't be doing that. Because that does show favouritism. And you can say, oh, well, we can do this how we want. It makes the show. It makes the show where you follow the rules that you made. And yes, I agree. Some things in life suck. Some things in life don't go your way. We get that. I mean, look how many people who should have won the World Championship over the years didn't, because things didn't go their way. Mansell in '86. We've all heard Murray's voice. And look at that. So, in closing, do I think, while it does sound like sour grapes from Mercedes, do I think they should push through and get something sorted with this? Yes. Will it overturn Max being world champion? It can't. It can't. It cannot overturn Max. Max was not at fault for this incident. Alright? If he'd have done something on track to warrant this, then yeah, in this race, absolutely. Strip him for the title, give it to losers, whatever. But it wasn't. This is between the team bosses coercing Michael Massey into changing decisions and rules that they set in stone and placed, rather than Michael Massey and the FIA telling the bosses, we're doing it this way. And it's been like that for years, where team bosses and that have tried to get their pieces of pies into it. And I get it, it's a bit, Formula One is a business. But first and foremost, it's supposed to be a sport and entertainment for all of us. And for the drivers to go do something that they love, and that is racing. That wasn't a show, that was a farce at the end. So FIA, Michael Massey, sort your shit out. I have been Lord T Major. Thank you for listening. Have yourself a wonderful day.